let's do a little ASVAB practice. All right, here we go. Now, it's asking us, let's see, Riley brings 100 cookies to school for her class party. If there are 15 students in class, including Riley, and there are 25 cookies left after the party, what is the average number of cookies that Riley and her classmates ate? I like to always just immediately go and focus on that question part. So what is the average number of cookies that Riley and her classmates ate? Let's go back and figure out what they said about cookies. She brings 100 cookies to school for a party. So there we know we have 100 cookies total. It tells us there are 15 students in the class, including Riley, so not 16. There are 25 cookies left after the party. So 25 are left over, which means those did not get eaten. And we want to know the average that they ate. So we're going to take that 25 and subtract it from 100 because they didn't eat those cookies. So let's go ahead and do that. 100 minus 25 is 75 cookies that they ate. Now, what's the average that each student pretty much ate? It says, what is the average number of cookies that Riley and her classmates ate? We want to know per student. Okay, so since they ate 75, we're going to take that 75, we're going to divide it by the 15 students to figure out how many they ate per student. 15 divided by 75 is going to give us 5. They were some hungry little little classmates, weren't they? 5 cookies per student on average. Excellent. All right, next question coming up. All right, question number 2. If 75% of x is 150, what is the value of x? We're looking for the value. How much is x worth? Well, it tells me that 75% of x is 150. There's some key words here. Of is going to mean multiply every time, no matter what. If you learn that, you'll go places. Is means equal, okay? So of is multiply, is equal. Now let's go ahead and write this as an expression. All right, so let's go ahead and write this as an equation. 75% of, I'm going to use a dot, x is equal to 150. Anytime you have a variable, you want to solve for x, right? You want to get x by itself. Let's go ahead and convert percent to a decimal. Move it twice to the left. So that's 0.75, 75 hundredths, times x is equal to 150. How do I get x by itself? Inverse operation. Since I'm multiplying by 75 hundredths, I'm going to divide both sides by 75 hundredths. When I do that, over here it reduces down to a 1, and I'm only left with x because we don't have to write the 1. Now I have 150 divided by 75 hundredths, and what does that equal? Is going to be 200. So the value of x is C, 200. Bada bing, bada boom. Now there is also another way that you can solve this by using your answers, which is why I love math. It says 75% of x is 150. One of these 4 answers is x. If you have a calculator, you can literally take all of them. 150 times 0.75. 175 times 75, but remember you're using 75 hundredths, okay? Because this says 75% of x should equal 150. Always use your answer choices. They are very, very helpful. Bye. Next question coming up like in 2 seconds. Ha! I told you I wouldn't be gone for long. Here we go. 587 people are traveling by bus for a field trip. If each bus seats 48 people and all buses but one are filled to capacity, how many people, oh, found that question finally. How many people, stop moving, how many people sit in the unfilled bus? So I'm trying to determine the unfilled bus. I want the bus that's not all the way full. Stop it. That's not all the way full, okay? Stop it. Oh my goodness. I want the bus that's not all the way full. Let's go back and find some information. There's 587 people total. Okay, so 587 people total traveling by bus. Each bus sits 48 people. Okay, so that's 48 people per bus. All of the buses but one are full to capacity. How many people are in the unfilled bus? Well, first of all, let's just see how many buses we can fill with 48 people. Per bus means division. Okay, we're going to divide. And sometimes it means multiply, it just depends on the problem. But we are going to take the amount of people and divide them per bus. Each bus holds 48 people. So let's go ahead and divide 587, excuse me, by 48. It does not go into 5, but it does go into 58 one time. I'm doing this by hand. You may have a calculator. It's probably going to be easier, but here we go. How many times is 48 going to 107? Well, I know 48 and 48 would probably be, well, not probably, it's going to be 96. So that's going to be 2 times 96. Remember, we have 107 minus 96. 7 minus 6 is 1. 10 minus 9 is 1. 11 are going to be left over. The unfilled bus, so I have 12 buses that are completely full. Okay, these are filled because there's 48 people on each of those buses. But the remaining bus only has 11 people. All right, question, the next one, it'll be here in a minute. 1 second. Hey y'all, the question that's a little bit more challenging. Ed has, well, first of all, let's just go jump and find the question. How much money does Robert have? Okay, we looking for Robert's amount of money. So we want to know the money that Robert has, right? Let's go and see what the problem tells us. Ed has $100 more than Robert. So Ed has $100 more than Robert. After Ed spends $20 on grocery, he has 5 times as much money as Robert. So when Ed spends his $20, now he has 5 times R. Okay. So the reason I wrote it like this with the equal sign, because it tells me when Ed's amount of money is equal to 100 plus whatever Robert has for that first one, right? Then for the next one, whenever Ed spent $20, he has 5 times whatever Robert has. They didn't give us any numerical amount for anybody's money. One person they didn't say nothing about, quantity of money was Robert. So our Robert is our unknown. Remember, that was our question mark. We're going to let Robert equal X. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to replace all of these with X. When I do that, you're going to see what happens. Ed can also be replaced for Ed. So 100 plus X is equal to Ed. I'm going to replace the Ed down here with 100 plus X because these are equivalent expressions. So, take that back. Yeah, it is. So 100 plus X minus 20, because remember, Ed is equal to 100 plus X. So I can rewrite Ed as 100 plus X minus 20 in this equation is equal to 5 times X, which is Robert's amount. Now I only have one variable and I'm going to go ahead and solve. 100 minus 20 is 80 plus X equals 5X. My goal is to get X alone by itself. Subtract X from both sides. Remember, what I do to one side, I do to the other because it is an equation. I want things to be equal. 5X minus X is now 4X. How do I separate this 4 from this X? The operation that happens is multiplication. So to undo that, I need to divide. 4 divided by 4 is 1. We don't have to write that because it's understood if there's just a single X there with no number in front of it, it's a 1 there. 80 divided by 4 is 20. So X, remember, represented Robert's amount of money. Therefore, Robert had $20. Let me know if you have any questions about that one. Another word problem. Let's go jump and find that question. How many cakes can be made using a package of 60 ounces of vanilla extract? All right, so 60 ounces of VE. Let's go back into the problem and find where it talks about vanilla extract. It says a cake recipe requires 3/5 of an ounce of vanilla extract. Okay, so one cake. So for one cake, I need 3/5 ounce of vanilla extract. If I have 60 ounces of vanilla extract, how many cakes? Well, since one cake uses 3/5, I'm going to take that 60 and I'm going to split it by 3/5 because that's going to represent one cake. So how many cakes can I get? Well, this is dividing fractions. Don't care why. You're going to have to flip that second one and then you're going to have to multiply. Okay. The way I divide fractions is multiply by the reciprocal. What I've done is taken the reciprocal of 3/5, which is 5/3, changed division to multiplication, and now I'm going to multiply. When you multiply fractions, you go straight across, top, top, bottom, bottom. 60 times 5 is 300, divided by 3 is 100 cakes. Bada bing, bada boom. Thanks.